Hello everybody, Allie here, and welcome to the Gold Mine. Thank you for joining me here on another episode at Allie's Treasure Trove. Today, of course, I am back with another new episode of our Allie Plays August Takeover playthrough of the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. I believe we are getting into game episode number 2, investigation part 3. Now, at the end of yesterday's episode, there was an emergency on the boats, did have to avoid a crash, and everything shifted, made a very sharp turn, and we discovered that's how the books fell over on the bookshelf, and also that's how the lock on the door got into place from the inside. So we have figured out, we as in Ryunosuke and Susanto have figured out that, of course, the room could have been locked that way. And everybody seems to have a foggy head, Ryunosuke included. Of course, we knew that. Saw that he was just completely passed out inside the wardrobe when he got dragged out by our friend Kermit the Frog and Susanto, and of course all the members of the crew. Herlock Sholmes is Kermit. If you guys are just jumping into this episode for the first time, I gave him Kermit voice. I don't know why. I almost regret it just because using Kermit voice for so long does a number on my throat, but I feel like it fits him a little bit too well. And not the best Kermit impression, but I enjoy doing it. Anyways, everybody seems to be having some issues. So it seems like the chicken that Ryunosuke had for dinner, of course, Cosmo didn't have any of it because we learned that he doesn't like chicken, so he didn't eat any of it. So he might have been the only person that was conscious during this whole affair. So I'm really curious to see what's going on. I feel like we haven't actually met the culprit just quite yet. Curious if it's going to be a crew member or something else. But anyways, let's jump right back on into it. We are currently in Miss Pavlova's cabin following the events of that giant turn that we just made and everything fell over. Somehow, the door to the cabin we were in ended up bolted after we made an emergency stop. Susanto-san took a deep breath and gently slid back the bolt. You! What are you doing in Miss Pavlova's quarters? Ah, you both look unhurt. Good. Yes, we're fine, thank you. What on earth happened? We heard something about how we were going to collide with another ship. Yes, it appears to have been a false report, though. Oh, how did that happen? There's a dense fog outside, so it's extremely difficult to see. Someone must have thought he saw a ship ahead. Or somebody did it on purpose. This person obviously triggered the alarm, and that's why we made an emergency stop. Everything is chaos! Passengers are screaming! Crew are running everywhere! This first-class area is the only quiet part of the ship at the moment. Oh, I see. Someone triggered the alarm? Does that mean that someone pressed that button outside? You wicked intruder! Dressed in all in black! You are the devil! Sorry, me? I've been called a lot of things before, but devil is a first. You opened my traveling case! No, that's the Susanto voice. You opened my traveling case! How could you? What? No, we didn't touch it. That's right, Miss Pavlova. It was already open when we came into your cabin. Inspector! Yes? Arrest this man! I know he did it! He is a criminal! It is not enough that he has killed a man! Nah, and he has stole away as well. If Vixen promises not to steal chicken, do you believe? Ugh. Take him away! He is a trespasser as well as everything else! Stowing away, trespassing, killing! She is right, you are devil! Doesn't look good, does it? There is cell below deck. Throw him in. Tomorrow we dock in Hong Kong. Then we give you straight to police. Wait, a cell? Please, Inspector Hosonaga, is there nothing you can do? This is a Russian vessel. I have no jurisdiction here. After my last effort to appeal to the captain's good nature, I think I am out of options. This is terrible. This is a real crisis. I've got to find a solution. Immediately. So what should we look at here? We've clicked on all these before. Let's see, is there anything that changed over here? That's a little different. That's a little different. Herlock, why are you on the wall? What the? What are you doing up there? Mr. Sholmes? Why is he wearing the tiara?
Naturally, I was analyzing what a weight of 20,000 rubles feels like on one's head. By hanging from these hooks on the wall, I feel very beautiful. Have I not told you that as a detective, it is my business to know what other people do not? This isn't mere tomfoolery, my boy! Oh, no, no!
Well, why were you hanging from the hook before then?
Isn't it obvious? To properly assess the weight of 20,000 rubles, naturally. I wish to determine if it would bend that conceited-looking hook on the wall, so full of brag and bounce.
He's trying to fight the wall hook. This man's trying to fight the wall. Herlock, why are you such a mess? You're wonderful, but you're a mess. Why? The tiara looks so good on him, though. Why that looks unreasonably nice? Nah, I never know whether to take this man seriously or not. Ah, you again. The great detective.
Ah, Inspector! I confess I've been looking for you. I have something to report to you most urgently.
Well, you might try looking for me somewhere other than a hook on the wall next time. What is it to report? Speak!
An urgent report from a great detective can mean but one thing. Yes! The case of the curious murder that has took place last night here on this vessel, the steamship Buria, has been solved by me, naturally.
What? Really?
Yes, and I've eliminated all other possibilities. No other explanation exists. So, allow me to illuminate all your minds. For I am about to reveal my great detective's greatly admired great deduction to the case.
Alright, so another little dance about, I'm assuming. Ha! You have solved it! Even Hedgehog understands this case. We all know who was responsible for killing student boy this morning when we found criminal in wardrobe. This is the stowaway, and he has the handcuffs to prove it. I didn't do it! I didn't do it! It's not me! The trouble is, there doesn't appear to be anyone else who could have killed the victim. Because, as everyone knows, the cabin door was bolted shut from the inside. Yes, but as we know, the bolt just shut itself when the ship stopped. That means the culprit must be someone who's inside the cabin.
Yes, it's what's called a locked room mystery in detective stories.
Nah! Locked room! That is point!
The room was locked.
Well, I can't deny that. There's no way the bolt could have been drawn across from the outside the cabin.
You're all quite mistaken. The cabin next door is not a so-called locked room at all.
What?
Well, yes, there's another entrance. An entrance used last night by the culprit in order to gain access to the cabin despite the bolted door.
What other entrance? We never discovered one.
Why? It keeps open-mouthed at you even as we speak.
The vent.
The ventilator, man! He vented! The criminal vented! I've played lots of games of Among Us, and I know that you can use vents to get out of rooms where you've killed people!
The ventilator? You think this is funny? I cannot even put my arm through that hole. Well, I'm not saying that you did it. You're kind of huge. That's because your arms are as thick as tree trunks. You're suggesting that the culprit entered and left the victim's cabin through that tiny opening. That's what I said 2 episodes ago. But now it's the door. You just stop. You just knock out everybody on the ship, and you can do whatever you want. People don't even notice because you're asleep.
Ah, but it is! And last night, the victim even witnessed the intruder in the act of passing through the ventilator.
Mr. Sholmes, do you mean... Are you referring to the words Cosmo-sama wrote in his diary? 1:23 a.m. I can hear a faint whistling sound. 1:35 a.m. What looks like some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill.
Precisely, my dear madam.
But what does it mean? What is this speckled band?
The answer to that particular conundrum is in this very cabin.
Mr. Sholmes, what are you doing?
I am trying to fight the air. There is a distinct element of danger, but fear not, I am ready. I will fist fight a snake. What I'm about to expose for you all to see will shock you to your cores. Behold!
I'm assuming that was Susanto. This man just whipped out a snake, didn't he? He did. He did. Alright, the snake's kinda cute. Too big for my personal preference. He looks angry.
Allow me to introduce you all to the band! The speckled band!
A snake?
Indubitably!
See, now we know 100% that Cosma didn't die to the snake because her lock said so. We know it's wrong. Before it was discovered that he died from blunt trauma to the, I guess, the back of the neck. Someone smacked him upside the neck and it broke and he died. I was thinking that it just might have been an accident, got killed by the snake. But then we learned Hosonaga here is to protect Cosma from assassination, so I don't think this is an assassin snake. I believe Pavlova's story. Or Mr. Sholmes, just one thing.
Gray, what troubles you?
Well, that snake isn't really speckled, is it? Looks more stripy, wouldn't you say? That's a stripy band.
Yes, you're right. I think in this case you'd have to call it the striped band, wouldn't you?
You both see and observe with distinction. However, do you not think that is precisely the trap into which the culprit wishes you to fall?
Oh my goodness, really? It's a trap?
How exactly? Chameleon snake.
I think perhaps it is time I explain the intricacies of my train of thought.
Let's see what you have for us.
Are you ready, Miss Pavlova?
I'm sorry for the young man who died, but that is all. His death has nothing to do with me. This whole thing has nothing to do with me.
Snake murders! There are two conclusions I have drawn from the facts. Number one, last night, your friend infiltrated the victim's cabin. Number two, the same friend was responsible for the victim losing his life.
No! She's turned as white as a bowl of rice again. Sholmes must be right. He's hit the nail on the head. This young woman's friend killed Mr. Asogi. Looks like he can't speak with that snake coiled around his head.
I would advise as little movement as possible, seaman. You wouldn't want the fangs of that long thread in your neck.
Then who wrote the fake Russian message?
So everyone, let us begin. Sherlock Sholmes is proud to present his logic and reasoning spectacular.
The Great Deduction. The game is afoot. Topic 1. Intruder's identity.
Miss Pavlova, moments ago you claimed the following. His death has nothing to do with me. This whole thing has nothing to do with me. Yet you cannot deceive yourself. Yes, when you recall those horrid events, your aching heart smarts with pain. And your aching ears for my horrible voice also have pain, and it is that very pain that evidences your inextricable link to the victim's death. So, we ask, what was the nature of this intruder that stole into the victim's cabin on that portentous night? Why, naturally, it was the friend with which you boarded this vessel, was it not? Nah, as I suspected, another telltale glance.
This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. He's just standing there, the snake. How is that guy not flipping out? He's big and strong, no afraid of snake.
Without doubt, your friend is the writhing serpent we see before us. And yet, that fact leaves us in a quandary. The victim's written observations on the night in question tell of a speckled band. Whereas, regrettably, the specimen's markings do not fit that description in any way. What explanation can we give then? Pray, was this the sight that fell upon the victim's eyes last night?
No! Don't look at me! This has nothing to do with any of this!
Oh, but it does! You have the answer to this quandary even now, hidden behind your back! Yes! That which you are trying but failing to conceal can only be the snake's sloughed skin!
I don't think snakes shed into different patterns. Or a lot.
Evidently, after the subtle and horrible crime, this most deadly friend of yours shed its original skin! No?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Last night, through the ventilator visible in this cabin, your then speckled friend slithered next door. Using the bell cord on the other side as a bridge, the serpent silently descended into the victim's quarters. In the dim light, it appeared to the young gentleman who was about to lose his life as a speckled band. In summary, the nature of this friend of yours, which last night infiltrated the scene of the crime, is a rare breed of snake whose markings change each time it slows its skin.
That's not how snakes work. I appreciate the attempt. That's not how snakes work.
A snake so dreadful, you can only imagine it would be found in the deepest depths of India.
Or Australia. Everything kills you in Australia.
Moving on, we come to the heart of the matter, the grim demise of the victim.
Such a sad picture.
How did this young man lose his life, and why? According to the data of which I have been apprised, it would appear there were no visible signs of injury. In fact, the circumstances of the victim's death can only be explained by a terrible venom. Now, if we take that as fact, we can reasonably imagine that there remains evidence to affirm it at the scene of the crime.
Oh no! Could there be?
Yes! An examination of the deceased body will prove the cause of death conclusively. The almost, but not quite, imperceptible puncture wounds left by the venomous fangs will seal the truth. Yes, the vestiges of the snake bite delivered by your terrifying friend.
This makes no sense.
There is no point feigning ignorance, Miss Pavlova. After the incident, you endeavored to hide everything, didn't you? But now your involuntary glance betrays the hiding place you chose. That's right! You hid the evidence that links you to the victim's death in that traveling case. When we first met in this cabin, It came to my attention that your case moved periodically. Your serpent assassin was restless inside, no doubt.
Serpent assassin. You don't.
It is telling that the victim may note of a low whistling sound that he heard minutes before his end. That was your signal, was it not? The sound you would use to train your serpent friend.
To train?
Indeed. You put the serpent through the ventilator and wait. After a period, you'd summon back with a whistle. You couldn't know if the animal had done its duty, so you would listen for signs of life next door. If the victim appeared to not have been dispatched, you released the snake once more. Do you deny the snake has undergone such training?
It's not true!
I feel like she might actually have the snake trained, but I don't. God, there's no way, with her lot going off on this, there's no way that the snake killed Cosmo. Right? It was established blunt trauma to the neck, unless he got so spooked that he fell on something, and then it doesn't make sense though. None of the markings make sense. Right? One of the Russians on the ship must have done it. She speaks Russian though. This makes no sense. I love it when I have no idea what's going on. It's like I have bits and pieces and I don't understand how any of it connects.
Having slithered through the ventilator and down the bell cord, the creature needed only to sink its fangs in once.
Fangs, not fans.
And its venom would course through the victim's veins, ending his existence forever. That is the true nature of the speckled man that took the poor man's young life.
What? No.
Poor young man's life.
I can't read.
There can be no doubt. My logic is infallible.
She's just gonna be like, bro, my snake's not venomous.
This concludes Sherlock Sholmes' great deduction of the speckled band.
Hosanaga's like, bro, this is crazy.
Miss Pavlova has trained her pet snake as a killing machine. There on the floor, you will observe a saucer of milk. The promise of food is the key to training any creature.
Incredible. You've solved the mystery. Ryunosuke, don't fall for this crap. Amazing. Your great deduction really lives up to its name. I now see why Sherlock Sholmes has become such a household name.
My dear man, it was nothing remarkable. As the Russians say, I could have done it with one left hand.
Can I venture an opinion, Mr. Sholmes? I think you're wrong.
But of course, what's on your mind?
It's just about your deductions before. Some things don't quite make sense to me.
I welcome questions as to my method, and will answer both loudly and proudly.
Oh, well, good. First of all, snakes are egg-laying creatures, part of the reptile family.
You're well informed, madam.
And reptiles, don't drink milk.
Oh, does she not have a pet snake?
It's really only mammals that like to drink milk, you see? So, I'm not sure it would be possible to train a snake using milk as a reward.
No matter. No doubt Miss Pavlova used some other treat to encourage her pet to do her bidding. Milk was merely an example. The logic holds.
Well, there is something else. Snakes have no ears.
That's true. They just have like holes.
Yes, so I'm not sure it would really be possible to signal a snake by whistling.
But madam, what of the tales from Arabia? Have you not heard of snakes that dance to the sounds of a flute?
I think perhaps the performers play their music in time with the snake's natural movements.
Oh, I see. No hands, no feet, no ears. Those creatures are so inept as to be practically useless.
He's like, I can't fight a snake, it has no hands. How can I throw hands with a snake if the snake can't throw hands back? He's having a midlife crisis right now.
There is one other thing.
You have more? You are ruining my career.
Snakes use the scales on their bellies to propel themselves. So, I'm not really sure that a snake could manage to climb up a flat bell cord like the ones in these cabins.
Then it should try harder. I'm tired of these weak snakes. Get some muscles.
Please, don't be angry with me, Mr. Sholmes. The point is, even if the snake had gone through the ventilator to the next door cabin, it couldn't have come back without help. What I'm trying to say is that there are a number of reasons why it's difficult to imagine that the snake could have had a part in this.
Defeated. I've been eyeballing his necktie. I finally figured out what it is. It's like his underdress is like Kristoff from the Apollo Justice game. That's what it is. That's what it reminds me of. I've been staring at it for like these past few episodes, being like, where have I seen that before? It's the underdress for Kristoff.
I think we need to step in and help again, Mr. Naruhodo.
Oh no, you don't mean.
Yes, we need to modify Mr. Sholmes' latest deductions and turn them into the great ones they ought to be.
I had a feeling that was coming. Alright, so let's give it a try.
Just what I was waiting for, Mr. Naruhodo. This is all a test.
Yes, right.
So, cast your eyes down to your wrists again.
What?
I have stolen your handcuffs.
You've done it again!
Your handcuffs are gone!
Where did they go?
Fear not! I shall see they're restored after our work is done!
No, please don't put them back on. I don't want them. I really wish you'd leave them off.
Now, everyone, let us begin! Sherlock Sholmes is proud to present his logic and reasoning spectacular.
Course correction. Hold it, Mr. Sholmes. Alright, let's see. Where do I get to interject? Alright. She does have a pained expression on her face.
Yes, that's true. She looks as though Kazuma-sama's death is weighing heavily on her mind.
But you're not sure Mr. Sholmes has read her quite correctly, is that it? Could there be some other way to interpret her expression, then?
Let's take a moment and really look closely at Miss Pavlova.
Perceiving. What's causing her pain? Her wrist. Duh. Alright, let's look around. With a 3D model. Ooh, ooh, ooh. What in tarnation? She have like a missing cat or something? Claw scratch?
Oh, Naruhodo-san, look! That looks like a very painful wound.
It looks like a scratch made by some small animal. And fairly recently, too.
Well, whatever scratched her doesn't appear to be around here.
Let's present that.
Yes!
Yes, when you recall those horde events, that claw scratch smarts with pain.
Indeed! And a simple observation reveals that the wound is fresh.
Miss Pavlova, did you in fact receive that scratch sometime last night?
Huh. I think about the young man who died next door, I feel so sad. And when I am sad, the pain from this wound is worse.
And is that very pain that evidences your inextricable link to the victim's death?
I don't know about that. Alright, let's see. Maybe she doesn't actually have a pet snake. Maybe that's just a random snake on that guy's face. Maybe she has a cat that was hunting the snake? I don't know. It seems likely that the scratch mark on the back of Miss Pavlova's hand was made by this friend of hers, doesn't it? Except, snakes don't have claws, do they? Otherwise, Herlock could fight it.
No, they don't. They don't even have hands or feet on which claws might grow.
Well then, if that snake isn't her pet, what is? What's the true identity of this friend of hers?
We should follow her gaze, Naruhodo-san. That's where we'll find the answer.
Obviously, she has a pet Seaman Stroganoff. Oh, that. Give. Over here. She has a cat. Aw. Oh. That's the Taco Bell bell. Interesting. Interesting. This must be something Miss Pavlova brought with her when she ran away.
She's exceptionally beautiful, isn't she?
Yes, that's true, but personally, it's the little black creature she's holding that's caught my eye. Maybe we'd better take a closer look at this. Cat. Yes! Without doubt, your friend is the little kitten we see before us.
Yes! The scratch on the back of your hand makes that abundantly clear!
Oh no! The whereabouts of this black kitten isn't clear, but what is clear is that you brought the animal with you when you ran away, didn't you? Ah! Darka is my best friend. I couldn't leave her behind. Darka would appear to be a Russian. Oh.
Darker would appear to be a Russian blue. And yet, that fact leaves us in a quandary. The victim's written observations on the night in question tell of a speckled band. Whereas, regrettably, the specimen's markings do not fit that description in any way.
The Taco Bell bell. Maybe the cat ran off after the snake.
What explanation can we give then, pray? What?
What did he see then? Oh, does she have some sort of cat toy? Is that what it is? Obviously snakeskin, right? Maybe she's just a furry.
Did you see that? She just took something out of her pocket and hid it behind her back.
Why would you take it out of your pocket to hide it behind your back? That seems very counterproductive. If she just left it in her pocket, no one would have ever known. That's what I'm saying! Oh yes, ploys like that are Mr. Sholm's specialty. He's ever so cleverly forced her to reveal something. I thought deduction was his specialty, or maybe making me believe that was a ploy, too.
Anyway, I find it hard to believe that's the skin of a snake.
In which case, just what is Miss Pavlova hiding behind her back? Let's investigate. What is this? Well, it is speckled, and it is a band, but what is it? It seems to be soft and fluffy. A long piece of cloth of some sort? And that looks like a handle at one end.
I think it may be a cat's toy. This sort is common in the West, apparently.
How is that a toy for cats?
Cats like to chase the band around and paw at it. Kittens in particular love that sort of play. You only need to wave it in front of them, and they pounce to catch it.
Haha, that sounds positively adorable. Cat's toy, cat toy, cat toy, present the cat toy. Yes! Man, I thought she had a pet snake. I would have preferred her having a pet snake. Snakes are cool. Cats are cool too, but you don't see many people with pet snakes. Yes! That thing you are trying but failing to conceal is, a cat's toy.
Precisely! And the true nature of that now infamous speckled band. And it was this toy that you dangled through the ventilator. You waved it around, I presume. Naturally, the victim could not fail to notice it.
But why? For what reason?
My dear boy, there can only be one answer to that.
Distraction for the assassin cat.
After her feline friend disappeared through the ventilator into the neighboring cabin, Miss Pavlova attempted to use the speckled cat's toy to incite the creature to return.
Ah.
In summary, the nature of this friend of Miss Pavlova's, which last night infiltrated the scene of the crime, is a blithesome Russian blue breed of cat by the name of Darka.
Yeah!
A truly troublesome feline young Darka is proving to be. She must be caged once found. You'll forgive us for borrowing the photograph of your pet, Miss Pavlova.
It was after I gave her food last night. That's when it happened. She scratched the back of my hand and then ran up the bell cord. Before I could do anything, she had disappeared through the ventilator. Darka, she is so naughty.
Alright, so we solved our first topic. Alright. How, presumably, did Cosima die? No visible signs of injury, and she reacts to that. Why does she react to that? Terrible venom. Maybe Cosmo's just allergic to cats? I don't know.
What Mr. Sholmes says is true. There were no signs of a wound anywhere on Cosima's body.
That's right. But Mr. Sholmes seems to be unaware of one very important detail. Cosima wasn't poisoned.
Yes, it would seem so. Let's give him the information he's missing now.
Yes! That's true, the victim's circumstances of death can be explained by the post-mortem report. In fact, the circumstances of the victim's death can only be explained by the post-mortem report.
Yes! I knew it was one or the other.
One of those things.
His neck was...
Indeed! The breaking of the cervical vertebrae is fatal! Only the Goliath would be strong enough to survive that!
Seaman Stroganov isn't some immortal freak, you know.
The jury is out! Anyway, we have a good authority that the victim's neck was broken. Now, if we take that as fact, we can reasonably imagine that there remains evidence to affirm it at the scene of the crime.
Oh no, could there be?
The bell. The other half of the bell.
Yes, an examination of the deceased body will prove the cause of death conclusively.
Cosima died because his neck was broken. In other words, he was probably struck by something, or someone.
Yes, that's a distinct possibility. As of yet, no weapon has been found, though.
Presumably Darka didn't silently creep up behind Cosma and deal him a fatal blow.
I suppose. It's possible that he had a fall and hit the ground awkwardly. It could have been a terrible act of misfortune that he broke his neck completely by accident.
Oh yes, a bad fall could explain it.
It's rather hard to believe of Kazuma-sama, though. He wasn't a clumsy man.
Well, we need to fix this deduction somehow. Is there anything from the scene that could explain what happened? Yes! Maybe he slipped? Oh no. Yes! An examination of the mark on the floor will prove the cause of death conclusively.
This particular mark, so prominently visible next to the victim's body, is a deposit of shoe polish.
Shoe polish?
Indeed! Positively identified by a little analysis device I constructed, which I now carry as a matter of course. Beeswax, tallow, and dye were my results. The undeniable ingredients of shoe polish.
And the color of the polish is a perfect match to the color of Mr. Asogi's laced leather shoes. Did he actually just slip and die? Chasing the cat? But then who wrote the marks? Looking at this mark, it's not hard to imagine what happened. For some reason, Mr. Asogi must have caught his foot at that point on the floor and tripped.
Please, no.
And by a dreadful turn of misfortune, caught his neck against some immovable object as he fell to the floor. Suffering a fatal blow to the spine, the victim's vertebrae shattered. In that instant, he lost his life.
No, that's horrible. Is this really what's happening? I don't know. I don't know anything about this. She's kind of being weird. What about the evidence left at the scene where Mr. Asogi lost his life?
Yes, the facts are as clear as day to me. You did all you could to conceal the incriminating evidence. But now, your involuntary glance betrays the hiding place you chose. That's right! You hid the evidence that links you to the victim's death in that traveling case.
I don't believe it. Kazuma-sama merely tripped over and now he's no more? It can't be true. I refuse to accept it.
I know it's hard to believe, but the mark on the floor does seem to suggest that's what happened.
But...
And if this part of Mr. Shulm's deduction is right, Miss Pavlova is trying to hide some evidence that would prove it. Here in this cabin, somewhere in the direction she just cast her eyes.
Where, I wonder?
Let's have a good look around. The answer must be here somewhere. I feel like she's looking on the desk somewhere. There wasn't much going on with the desk earlier. Tiara, obviously. No. Maybe. How do I look? Can I use WASD? No. How do I move around? Let me grab the... Let me just inspect the case. This is where Miss Pavlova hid her friend.
That's right! And it wasn't a snake after all!
That threw me for a loop. I thought it was gonna be a snake. No, it was that little kitten she calls Darka. Not that it's anywhere to be seen now. It seems to have let itself out of the case and gone exploring.
I expect it's wrapped itself around someone's head somewhere trying to make a new friend.
Either that, or it's scratching their hand to pieces. The point is, where has it got to? Not the tiara. I don't know why I'm struggling so much with this, you guys. I'm finding it actually very difficult to move around right here. It's usually not hard. I don't know what I'm looking at. Somebody appears to have dropped 20,000 rubles here.
It hasn't been dropped, then, Oda-san. It's been placed.
I'm starting to sound like Mr. Sholmes.
Stop trying to sound like the great detective. This is a waste paper basket. Perhaps all the first-class cabins have them.
But Miss Pavlova only started occupying this cabin late last night. Presumably there's not much rubbish in there yet. Taco Bell. Oh? What's that?
It's a broken piece of glass, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And I feel like I've seen it somewhere before.
If it looks familiar, perhaps it's more than your mind simply playing tricks on you.
Let's present. Yes! The trash can. That's right, you hid the evidence that links you to the victim's death in that waste paper basket.
Ah!
Here we have a fragment of some intricate glass object, it would seem. One that has a familiar air, in fact.
Precisely. We found another piece of broken glass on the floor in Mr. Asogi's cabin. And, as you can see, the two pieces fit together perfectly.
Oh no.
So, Miss Pavlova, shall we consider what this tells us? Why would it be that part of this glass object, which was evidently broken at the scene of the victim's death, should be found in the waste paper basket in your cabin?
Yeah.
You're well acquainted with this glass bell, are you not? It may or may not be in that photograph on top of your desk.
I don't.
I don't know. And that hushed Russian accent of yours won't save you this time, dear girl. Why? Because we have conclusive evidence linking you to the bell in question.
What?
Take it away, Mr. Naruhodo.
He's like, I have no idea what it is, but we must have something somewhere, right? The evidence linking Miss Pavlova and the little glass bell, that would be... Yes! If you look at this photograph! If you look at this photograph, you can clearly see, hanging from Darka's collar, the very glass bell in question.
The truth has caught up with you, Miss Pavlova. The young man who lost his life last night did so after a truly inauspicious fall.
Inauspicious, that's what the word was. Not auspicious, whatever I said. And the cause of that fateful stumble...
Your absent feline friend, Darka!
But then, who wrote the Russian on the floor?
I couldn't tell anyone. I'm sorry.
Cosma died by tripping over her cat, and she lied about it the whole time so the cat didn't get yeeted overboard. Somebody died. Somebody died, and you're like, oh,
I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened.
why don't you tell us now, Miss Pavlova? Tell us exactly what happened last night. And you try to pin it on me? That was very rude. Man, I don't know how I feel about this one. But then why is everybody's head hurt? Maybe everyone hit their heads while they were asleep if something happened? I don't know.
It was a little after 1 in the morning. It was so late, but I hadn't had time to feed Darka, so I gave her some food. And then, all of a sudden, she scratched me and jumped out of my hands.
People do say that cats become very anxious and nervous in new environments.
She was so fast, she disappeared through the ventilator before I could stop her.
And that is how you acquired the rather nasty wound on the back of your hand, I take it?
Yes. And I had read the, rules on the wall. I knew that I was not allowed Darka with me.
Yes, modern science suggests that animals can carry infectious diseases. It's a precaution, really.
So I listened and listened, trying to hear if there was some noise in the next cabin. It was very quiet. I was sure if someone was there, he must be sleeping. So at that point,
So at that point you thought it was safe to try to lure the kitten back again? By dangling the end of the toy through the ventilator and into the adjoining cabin!
How did Cosmo not notice a cat, though? That's the thing I'm not knowledgeable about.
Darka always loves this toy, but it didn't work. Nothing worked. I tried using her favorite toy. I tried whistling to her softly, but nothing. She didn't return.
So the faint whistling sound Cosmo wrote about in his diary is Miss Pavlova trying to retrieve her pet.
Cats have a propensity to remain hidden in the shadows when frightened.
Yes, so there was nothing else I could do. I just had to wait until she had calmed down. But then...
Ooh.
I nearly passed out with shock. I heard her cry out and then... Oh, it was such a dreadful bang. Then afterwards, nothing. It was totally silent.
Cosmo was... Oh, this is horrible. From the appearance of the brown mark on the floor, it seems likely what you heard was the victim stepping on the glass bell and tripping up. Yes, this bury is a large vessel, but even she can pitch and roll violently without warning. Mr. Sogi was already off balance as a result of the ship lurching when the kitten got under his feet. The combination of unfortunate factors could have easily caused him to fall over. But what became of the kitten afterwards?
In the end, I managed to get her to come back through the ventilator.
Yet Darka is nowhere to be seen!
I must have forgotten to lock my case. And now she's disappeared again.
Gracious! That cat is as insufferably restless as I am!
Well, he knows something about himself, at the least.
When I woke up this morning, I heard that a young man in the cabin next to mine had died. But I couldn't bring myself to tell anyone what had happened. I was too scared. Scared that they would send me back.
I'm not pleased with this. Oh, hold on a minute. What about the snake? You're right. Where is it? If the snake isn't your friend, Miss Pavlova, then whose is it and where did it come from? Is this guy's snake? No. What on earth is such a dangerous creature doing aboard this ship? Oh, I didn't say. Snake is my friend. His name is Prosko. What? What? That snake belongs to you? He escaped from crates when emergency alarm sounded. I was looking for him. I did not expect to find him in here. Yes, how did that snake get into this cabin? But animals are not permitted on board. Ha! We are at sea for 1 year. You want to be so long without close friend? Without someone who understands? Couldn't you find someone a little more human who understands you better?
And my dear burly fellow, a gargantuan venomous snake? Surely you can appreciate the danger you're putting everyone in?
No venom. Roscoe does not have venom. He is harmless, very long, but very gentle. He is adorable, like Granny. He is a cute snake.
It's venomless? Yes, now he is hungry, so he is in bad mood. But once I feed him, you will see big smile. And
you feed him what? Milk, I suppose? No, not milk. They don't drink milk. We just established they don't drink milk.
Ha! Like they say they milk chickens. Ridiculous. Snakes that drink milk are only stupid stories. Roscoe eats mouses. Big, fat, round mouses.
Ah, oh, so is that what the mousetrap in the passageway out there is for?
Of course. How else can I catch my friend's favorite food?
Nothing says top of the food chain like the look in their eyes right now. Just let him go wild. Sholmes is terrified of the snake.
It refuses to drink milk. It can't hear a whistle. It can't climb up a bell cord. And it's not even venomous. Why is this snake worthless? I have never seen such a worthless noodle in my entire life. And I even have my own brain here I'm talking about. The snake is worthless. It has no hands. I can't fight it. Why does it exist? How the deuce did something so inept land a starring role? It's not my fault. I do not make up stories. My Pirosco has nothing to do with this incident.
So that's what happened. That's the truth behind my best friend's tragic death. It feels unfulfilling. I don't know. It's not like I wanted someone to kill him, but who wrote on the floor? It was not. It's like something doesn't add up here. Did you sneak? Who? But then how did the door get locked? There's still a lot of I have so many questions still. This doesn't answer stuff for me.
Miss Pavlova! I understand the difficult situation you found yourself in, and I do sympathize. But please remember this. A young man lost his life. If you're going to attempt to cover up your guilt with lies, then no matter what the circumstances, I cannot forgive you.
But what are you talking about, Miss Mikotaba? What lies? Miss Pavlova just confessed everything.
This doesn't sit right with me. It was just a series of unfortunate events and accidents.
I'm no great detective like Mr. Sholmes. I don't have a gift for knowing the truth. But even I can see that was not the truth. Don't you agree, Mr. Naruhodo?
To be perfectly honest, yes. There's a discrepancy in Miss Pavlova's story, I'm sure of it. I just can't quite put my finger on it. The fact that she only knew he died this morning is what doesn't sit right.
I confess! I was intending to let Scotland Yard deal with any outstanding issues on this matter.
Oh.
I am only present here for a very specific reason. The truth is, you, Mr. Naruhodo, are simply a distraction.
A distraction?
I do hope you've not been finding your shackles too uncomfortable.
Not again. When did he do that?
Especially as they're on your wrist as a result of my intervention. I was rather hoping I could resolve matters before we made our next port call.
You were, Mr. Sholmes?
Yes, but I overlooked one important detail. The deceased young man was a very close companion of yours. Was he not?
Yes. Cosmo was my closest friend. I owed him my freedom, even.
In that case, we must follow this to its conclusion. No further distractions. We must uncover the real truth here, Mr. Naruhodo.
Yes, whatever that may be. The key to this is the discrepancy in Miss Pavlova's story, I'm sure. If I can chase that down, maybe the truth will become clear. The truth about how you really died, about how that scene in your cabin really came to be. Because who put the marks on the floor? Who stopped the ship to make it just the door lock up? Why are people's heads hurting? All right, I'll see what I can do.
Excellent.
Thank you, Mr. Naruto.
So then, shall we begin?
Yes.
What should we ponder first? Is the victim who lost his life in a cabin that was bolted shut from the inside? Was this truly an unfortunate accident? Or was it in fact no accident at all? That is what we must establish in this first instance.
But we've already established it, haven't we? The man tripped over the kitten that had climbed into his cabin via the ventilator. Tragic, yes, but still an accident.
Hold it!
Wait! Let's just take a step back. It doesn't make sense if that's really what happened, does it? I'm going to have to ask you to spell it out for me, I'm afraid. Yes, and it's starting to take shape now. There's a clear contradiction between the facts and Ms. Pavlova's story here. The evidence is right there in Cosmo's cabin. It's undeniable. His death couldn't possibly have been a mere accident. Really?
Let us show our hand, Mr. Naruto. Time to present the evidence.
Alright, I'm so glad that this hasn't how it ended, because I was like, this is very unsatisfying. I didn't like that at all. I was like, he tripped over the cat. Uh-oh, he died. Rest in peace. That's unfortunate. Like, that... Cosmo deserves better than that. Alright.
The evidence that proves unequivocally that the victim's death was no mere accident.
Because they tried to frame me for it.
Yes!
How's it an accident if you try to frame somebody else for it? The truth is clearly recorded in this photographic print. There's no way that Mr. Sogi could have left this message on the floor. That script, it's Russian, isn't it?
Indeed it is. The word written means wardrobe.
I see what you mean. Most people would leave a dying message in their native language. Japanese, in this case.
But maybe he was studying Russian.
No, get out of here, sus girl.
It's a simple language. He could have picked it up very fast.
That doesn't seem likely. That's actually not the point. It makes no difference whether he knew Russian or not. If he tripped and fell and immediately died, he doesn't have time to write a word in Russian framing me for murdering my own best friend. Sorry, what do you mean? Exactly what I said before. There's no way that Mr. Sogi could have left this message on the floor. And the reason why is clearly explained in here. Damage to the cervical vertebrae resulting in instant death. Instant death. Ah! Which means, after the victim fell to the floor, he couldn't have possibly written anything. Because he was already dead.
That's not the only reason either. There's something else we found in Mr. Sogi's cabin. A remnant of something that couldn't possibly have been there, if what Miss Pavlova told us was true.
What? So Susanto-san has noticed it too, then. Putting this message on the floor aside, there's something else that gives the truth away. Another piece of evidence that proves this was no accident. In other words... The bell, right? I don't know. There has to be the bell, right?
Yes!
This piece of broken glass next to the mark on the floor. But that's the glass bell the kitten had around its neck. We already know all about that. It was broken in half when the victim tripped over the cats and fell. So we already have a satisfactory explanation. Where's the flaw in that logic? Unfortunately, there's a very big flaw. A fatal flaw. What? If that's really what happened, then how did one half of the bell end up back here in this cabin? Ah.
Yes, remember that we found the other half of the glass bell in that wastepaper basket. Would you care to explain that, Miss Pavlova?
Oh no. Both these pieces of evidence clearly point to the same conclusion. Now when Mr. Sogi died last night in his cabin, and there was someone else in the room. And that same person deliberately arranged the scene to disguise the truth in order to cover up his or her own guilt.
Yeah! Yes, there was someone else present, Mr. Asogi's.
Ew. You are wasting time. Someone else was there. Da! Of course, we know this. What are you talking about? Bulkhead was bolted shut from inside. There was no way in or out. Oh, yes. And the only other person in cabin when young student died was you. Yes! It's true. I was in the cabin when it happened.
You were shut inside the cabin wardrobe, to be precise about the details.
But I don't know Russian. There's no way I would have left that message.
Not would have. There's no way you could have left that message, to be precise about the details.
Would you mind?
Forgive me, my dear fellow.
As I was saying, the person in question wrote the word wardrobe in Russian on the floor in an attempt to incriminate me for the crime, even though I had been asleep in there the entire time.
And then, the same person picked up the broken glass bell that had fallen to the floor, for fear of becoming evidence that would show how Mr. Asogi really died.
But why wouldn't this person have taken all the pieces of the bell away? Leaving half behind was always going to raise questions. Yes, well,
It was past 1 o'clock in the early hours of the morning. The cabin would have been quite dark. The single small lamp suspended from the ceiling would have barely cast any light onto the floor there. Little wonder then that the culprit failed to notice a fragment of the tiny item.
you all suspect me, don't you? Seaman Stroganov? Nina is woman of sea. She is strong. She is daughter of strong sailor. 2 years ago, they noticed her dancing skills and she went away to join ballet company. But before, she was dancer on the ship, a member of ship's band. You do not accuse Ship's Angel of being criminal. Ah, so that's it. You say that when young student died, Nina was there in his cabin. But that is not possible. I give my tooth.
Well, this is almost interesting. And why would you give your tooth, pray? How can you be so sure?
You are a great detective. You should know. Look through the eyes. Cabin bulkhead was bolted shut from inside. Nobody could go into cabin. Not Nina, not anyone. Or you want to tell me that killer can walk through locked doors? Nyet! It's impossible. Ugh, he's right. Except that we saw the door locked.
But wait! I've heard about this in detective stories. People often tie thread around door latches so that they can open and close them from the outside.
Thread? Are you stupid? These bulkheads are not barn doors.
Certainly not. These are watertight doors, as one would expect to find on any modern steamship. Constructed of heavy steel, with not a gap in sight. No threads or needles or magnets could have been used.
No, of course not. I thought so too. But Mr. Naruhodo suggested it earlier, so...
Susanto-san, how could you shift it onto me like that? Why are you saying it's my fault? So Seaman Stroganov has a valid point. The cabin door couldn't have been bolted shut from the outside.
Not necessarily.
What?
I put it to you that I could bolt this cabin door without laying a finger on it. And in this very cabin, we can see the traces of the method I have in mind having been used before.
I don't believe it. The bookshelf.
Well, Mr. Naruhodo, I believe you know what I mean, don't you?
A way to shut the bolt of the cabin door from the outside? One way does spring to mind, yes.
Do you really know what Mr. Sholmes means, Mr. Naruhodo?
Yes, and so should you. Because we've seen it happen.
Indeed we have. So, would you care to do the honors, Mr. Naruhodo? point out the telling signs of the method that was used to slide the cabin door bolt across from the outside.
Yes! I was thinking I need to click on like a thing in the crosshairs, but I'll just click on the bookcase. Look at the bookcase there. See how all the books and things on it have toppled over?
That must have happened when the ship made its emergency stop before.
Yes, that's right. It's a very powerful vessel, after all. When the engines are thrown in reverse, a violent jolt goes across the entire ship. Any small objects that aren't fastened down are bound to fall over.
I believe, yes, it's what's known as the force of inertia acting on the objects.
Is there nothing Susanto-san doesn't know? Or that isn't in her book, at least? Well, whatever it's called, the same force that pushed over the books in the bookcase also made something else in this cabin move. The bolt on the cabin door.
Ah,
It was very obvious just after the emergency stop that the ship made earlier. We had come into this cabin not long before, and we hadn't bolted the door. But then...
Hello? Is anybody in there? Shout if you need assistance!
Oh, that sounds like... Inspector Hosonaga. Oh, oops.
Inspector Hosonaga.
Hello, is anybody in there? Shout if you need assistance.
Oh yes, that's it. And the ship stopped suddenly. The bolt flew across and locked the door.
So maybe they all got micro concussions from sleeping in bed, knocking their head against the wood frame. I was thinking someone put something in the food, but they would have had to do that prior. That was under the guise of Cosmo being assassinated. I guess they all just smacked their heads on the walls. Yes, it's made of metal, but it's small and light enough to be moved by the ship's sudden change of speed. Or the force of inertia, if you want to call it that. Are you trying to say that last night, after Mr. Sogi was killed? Was that like an actual typo, or was it just memeing on Ryunosuke not knowing the word inertia? Yes, says Buria made another emergency stop. Yes, says Buria made another emergency stop. When I woke up this morning and looked around the cabin, I thought it looked a little odd. All the books on the shelves had toppled over, and all the ornaments. It was almost as if someone had run their hand across the shelves and deliberately knocked everything over.
Oh yes, I remember that. And I stood them all up again, didn't I?
And then when we came into this cabin, we were surprised to see the same thing here. All the books and everything had toppled over, just like in Mr. Asogi's cabin.
Oh my!
Susanto tampering with the crime scene actually saved the day here. A little bit. You have anything to say about this, Miss Pavlova? Are you out of your mind? You say Buria made emergency stop? It does seem a little far-fetched. How could that possibly have happened? Unless you're saying that the culprit is actually someone from the engine room.
Oh, it is simple enough. Are you forgetting the button in the passageway outside? Used to trigger the emergency alarm?
Oh yes, of course. There was a notice, wasn't there? Telling you only to press the button in times of emergency.
On dark nights, when the fog is dense, the captain cannot afford to rely on the eyes of his lookout alone. Hence the placement of a number of buttons around the vessel to allow any crewman to raise the alarm. This sort of button, one is almost compelled to press to satisfy one's curiosity.
So we know who pressed the alarm. We know who pressed the alarm. Why am I not surprised?
Wait, it was you! When the button is pressed, two things happen in the interest of safety. The emergency alarm bell rings, and the vessel comes to a complete stop. As indeed it did a little earlier today. I fought the alarm, and I won.
Mr. Sholmes, surely it wasn't you who...
As I always say, the button has but one purpose in life, and that is to be pressed! Whatever the occasion!
He sounds almost proud of himself.
How dare you mess with ship! I report you to Captain, you are in much trouble now! No, I am sure all that can wait until later. Let us not overlook the fact we have now learnt a valuable lesson. When the vessel makes an emergency stop, the bolts on the cabin doors slide closed. So, what we must now consider...
Yes, it all comes down to one thing now. Last night, after what happened to Mr. Isugi, did the ship make an emergency stop, or did it not?
You are idiots! Burya is a huge ship with many passengers. If we make emergency stop even in the middle of night, there will be chaos everywhere.
But why would Pavlova murder Kazuma? There's pieces that I'm just not putting together.
What are your thoughts, Mr. Naruhodo?
Well, it's certainly possible that some kind of emergency happened last night. We have evidence to support that idea.
Really? What evidence, Mr. Naruhodo?
Fascinating! Do tell us, my good man! What evidence promotes the theory that some emergency gripped this vessel last night?
Ah! Yes! Seaman Stroganov, it's your duty to patrol the first-class area of the ship, isn't that right?
Da! That is correct! Why?
In the ship's log here, this would be where you record the details of your duties.
What are you doing with that? That is mine! Ah! You rather carelessly left at the top the little makeshift bureau in the passageway out there. I just helped myself to it, you know? As responsible passengers, we took it into our care with a mind to return it to you later. So you didn't lose it. I left it there on purpose. That is where I'll put it always.
The point is, looking at what you usually record, it's clear that under normal circumstances you write the phrase, "nothing to report," every 30 minutes. But from 2 o'clock last night until first light this morning, nothing was recorded at all. Nothing recorded in the log.
That is... Da! Because nothing happened!
But if nothing happened, you would normally write "nothing to report," wouldn't you?
Indeed so, which tells us that shortly after 2 a.m., something happened here aboard the SS Burya. Something sufficiently significant to make you forget to fill in the ship's log, in fact.
Are you suggesting that the ship really did make an emergency stop in the middle of the night?
Stop talking rubbish!
If I'm perfectly honest, I find that a little hard to believe myself. Oh, why? Well, because if something as major as an emergency stop really had happened, surely all of us would have noticed.
That's very true. Thanks to the emergency stop we experienced earlier, we all know what it feels like now. The ship lurched so violently, and the alarm bell was so loud. I can't imagine that anyone would sleep through that, even if it happened in the dead of night.
So maybe... was the chicken laced? Well, no, that's a good point.
What of the throbbing?
Sorry, what do you mean?
Your head, man! The throbbing of your head since this morning! We have all suffered with it!
Ah!
Oh, yes. I have had a headache, you're right. In fact, I haven't been feeling myself since I woke up today.
Nor have I! My head has been feeling heavy ever since dawn.
Yes, you've all been afflicted, haven't you? Just as I suspected.
He's right, my head's been throbbing today, too. Did we all... Ah. And since eating dinner yesterday evening, everything has felt sort of hazy. I can't really remember anything that happened after I climbed back inside the wardrobe. And the first thing I noticed this morning was the throbbing pain in my head. I had already been dragged out of the wardrobe and had those handcuffs put on me by that point. Why did I wake up when all that was happening to me?
Tell me, Mr. Naruhodo, you boarded this vessel as a stowaway, didn't you?
Oh, well, yes. Sorry.
The stowaway class of accommodation doesn't usually include meals. What did you survive on?
Ah, well, Cosmo looked after me. He was always happy to share his meals.
So you enjoyed some of the whole roast chicken dish that was served yesterday evening, I take it?
Yes, in fact, I had all of that. Cosmo wasn't fond of chicken.
Oh, really? So the victim didn't eat any of the chicken at all?
That's right. He didn't touch it. Is that relevant?
My dear fellow, does that not strike you?
Oh, Mr. Sholmes, do you mean to say that there was something wrong with the chicken?
I do.
No. Really? Is that really true?
The meal prepared for the passengers last night had been tampered with. Tampered with by the addition of a sulfuric designed to induce a very deep slumber in those who consumed it.
So the chicken was laced. A sleeping drug? Do you mean... That's right, because how did she even get on the ship? They had to stop, right? But they didn't want people to know that they stopped to pick her up. So then they could do it again, I suppose. Do you mean whoever did this laced every meal with this sleeping drug so no one would notice the ship's emergency stop?
Mr. Naruhodo, of course that's not what Mr. Sholmes means. What a far-fetched idea.
You underestimate him, Susanto.
Precisely! Lacing every meal of every passenger on board with a sulfuric drug would certainly be impossible. Unless, that is, every single member of the crew was a conspirator.
What? Mr. Sholmes?
Well, seaman.
Eh? Right? The whole crew knows her, right? So they put everybody to sleep, pick her up. That makes sense. Logic checks out there.
I'm sorry to say that any more deception in this matter will get you nowhere. I, Kermit the Frog, am very intelligent. If you refuse to talk, there would have to be an inquiry made through the shipping company, of course. And were that to happen, every member of the crew and the captain himself would be hauled over the coals for aiding and abetting a renegade.
Oh, he's still on this. Bruh, he's still on this. This man's still going on about a Russian assassin.
Please, no more. I will tell everything.
Eh?
I cannot make problems like this for everyone anymore.
These crewmen are your former comrades, I believe.
Yes. So when I decided to run away, I asked them to help me.
We all agreed to help. Everyone together. She threw away everything. Her fame in the ballet. Mother Russia. We wanted to help our angel.
I don't believe it.
You are right. We put sleeping drug in chicken last night. Yes, I remember now. I did notice chewing on a lump of something strange and bitter at one point. Nah, we could not make all drug. How do you say, dissolve? Ugh, talk about heavy seasoning. That's why he was out for an extra period of time, I suppose. At midnight, in waters near Shanghai, we brought our angel on board. She was helped by Conrad on shore with a small fishing boat.
Well, all the passengers of the SS Burris slept soundly. Thanks to the almost magical effects of the slumber-inducing potion their evening meals had contained.
So, if that's what happened, the only people awake on the ship last night were the crew, people who dislike chicken, and the newly boarded passenger, Miss Pavlova. And that means it would have been possible for you. You could have used the emergency stop trick to lock Cosmo's cabin door. So did she do it? But how does that make sense? Surely every cabin door would have ended up locked in that case, and there would have been complete chaos.
Oh, I wouldn't say so.
What? Ah, of course. Just like us. All the other passengers would have eaten their evening meal of chicken in their cabins, after which they would have been overwhelmed by tiredness because of the sleeping drug.
Quite! And accordingly, all passengers were already in their cabins for the night.
Yes.
The overwhelming majority of passengers would habitually sleep with their cabin doors bolted anyway. And so not one of them would have found it remarkable to find the door locked in the morning. In summary, in order to fasten the bolt of a single cabin door on the ship, the culprit brought the entire vessel to an emergency stop in the early hours of the morning.
You have talked long time and said many things. What is point?
The point is what I said earlier. There was somebody else present on the scene when the victim lost his life last night. Someone who left a message in Russian on the floor in an attempt to incriminate another. Someone who tried desperately to hide the broken fragments of glass that would reveal the culprit's identity. And someone who abused the ship's emergency stop procedure in order to lock a door. All told, a busy night.
But, I don't know about any of this. I'm just a little girl. You like to speak with your long English words and explain your clever ideas. But I am sailor, and sailors don't listen to long, boring stories. We don't believe. Sailors like me, we trust only what we see with our eyes.
A laudable trait.
What?
What? I'm quite of the same disposition, my good man. Observation to me is everything. Mr. Naruhodo!
Oh, yes?
Do you hear it? That accusatory cry of guilt in the wind!
What accusatory cry of guilt?
Sorry, you've lost me.
Proof of involvement, man! But you can't hear such a call with your ears! No! You must hear it with your eyes! For observation is the basis of all deduction!
What are you talking about?
I believe the time has come for one final logic and reasoning spectacular to expose the truth!
Infinite Kermit voice. Ah, so it's a different one. It says Susanto over here. We have our boy, Mr. Herlock. Interesting.
So, Mr. Naruhodo, your assistance, if you please.
With what exactly, Mr. Sholmes?
With observation, my dear fellow. Just as I said, of these two prevaricators.
Observation?
If you remember, Mr. Naruhodo, we know that somebody tried to fabricate evidence, don't we? By tampering with the scene of Mr. Asuki's death. What we're looking for is some trace of evidence that one of these two was there when it happened.
Precisely! You're delightfully quick to grasp my meaning.
Alright, I'll see what I can see. So we're looking for a trace of evidence that shows someone else was there last night when Cosmo died. Why can we click on her ear?
She has such petite ears amongst that beautiful hair, like little pink shells.
Oh, what's that? There's something dangling down from her ear.
Ah, that's an earring. The crescent moon part looks as though it's made from wood. It's charming, isn't it?
Women do seem to love adornments like that. In their hair, around their necks, on their fingers, and even hanging from their ears, it seems.
Well, jewelry is beautiful, Naruhodo-san.
Alright. It's a nice little tidbit. Alright, let's look at their shoes. What was that? Chunky arms. Thick.
He has arms like tree trunks, doesn't he? Hairy tree trunks. Yes, he certainly has sailor's arms. He's born man of the sea.
Even if I had been away, I couldn't have done anything about being dragged out of the wardrobe by this man.
Naruhodo-san? Are you alright? You seem to be lost in thought.
Oh, sorry. Blame those hairy tree trunks. Alright. Hat.
Have you noticed something significant about Seaman Stroganov's hat?
Oh, no, sadly not. I was just thinking that if only we'd found it in Cosmo's cabin, it would be all so easy.
That's true. A hat dropped at the scene would have been very conclusive evidence. Ah, that's a point. I'm sure I saw your university uniform hat at the scene somewhere.
Oh my goodness, that is not a point. At least not one I'd like you to make. Ink stain. Hello there. Oh, look at this. It's some kind of stain in an unusual place.
Yes, you're right. It looks like ink, if I'm not mistaken.
Ink. And look at the color, too. It's clear where this came from. Wait, why can't I present the ink? There we go. No, wrong button.
Yes!
Seaman Stroganov, you seem to have quite a large purple stain on the back of your white uniform there. Eh? Ah, yes, I don't know where the dirt comes from.
But nothing in particular comes to mind about the stain.
What are you trying to say?
It would appear that the significance of the stain has escaped your attention, Seaman. Allow us to make it plain.
It's a very large purple stain on the back of Seaman Stroganov's uniform.
I think what made it is clear.
Indeed it is. So, Mr. Naruhodo, present the evidence that proves it.
My pleasure. Alright then, the evidence that proves what the stain on the back of Seaman Stroganov's uniform really is.
Yes!
Ink picture. Yes! It's this photograph! And the ink it shows! That's what caused the stain on your uniform. Ink?
A rather unusual color of ink. Purple.
Ah!
Ah! The penny drops! At last! Now you see the significance.
The Russian word on the floor next to the victim's body was written in purple ink. And the stain on the back of your uniform is ink of exactly the same color.
If the ink had been dry, it couldn't have possibly stained your uniform in that way. Which means you must have been present in the cabin in the moments immediately after the ink was spilled.
Alright, yes. It was me. I did it. Everything. Oh. I arranged everything in Dead Student's cabin to make it look like Wardrobe Man did it. Then I pressed button to make Burya do emergency stop and bolt the cabin door shut. I did everything so no one would suspect our angel.
Biff, please.
Don't worry, Angel. Let me do talking. It was after 1 in the morning. I was on duty patrolling passageway. Then our angel came to me. She was white like sheet.
Biff, please, you must help me.
I went with her. The door to cabin number 1 was open. When I looked inside, I saw student boy on floor. What happened in here?
Please, don't tell anyone. My little one. My little furry friend.
Everything that happened in cabin is like Angel told you. The kitten escaped through the ventilator to Mr. Asogi's cabin. Then he tripped over it and broke his neck when he fell to the floor. Oh, then he tripped over it and broke his neck when he fell to the floor? Yes, that is right. Oh, that's horrible. So after the incident when the cat ran away, Miss Pavlova then visited the cabin next to hers.
Only to find its occupant lying lifeless on the floor.
She said she was worried when she heard sound of something falling on floor. That's when she went to look. No, Angel? The door was not locked. So she opened to look and you already know what happened after.
There's just one thing, if you wouldn't mind.
What?
When you went to Mr. Asogi's cabin, Miss Pavlova, was he already dead?
Why? I already told you. When Nina opened door of student cabin and looked inside.
I was asking Miss Pavlova.
Well, Miss Pavlova? Nah.
Oh,
Yes, that is right. I saw him. It was dark and he was wearing black, but he was on the floor, not moving. I was scared.
I understand, and I believe you.
So is that finally it now? Have we discovered the real truth about Cosmo's death at last?
Ah! Something very nearly slipped my mind!
Oh, Mr. Sholmes?
This photograph! Yes, I took it myself, you know!
How did they know he was in the wardrobe, though? That's my question. 'Cause they didn't know he was a stowaway, so how'd they know in the wardrobe? I don't know.
The cause of death was a broken neck, therefore the victim died instantly. In the unfortunate incident that precipitated these events, a kitten on which the victim stumbled. However, those are the facts. There is one particular area in this photograph that seems to me somewhat unnatural.
What do you mean unnatural?
What are your thoughts on the matter, Mr. Naruhodo?
Oh, well. If Cosmo tripped and fell and by some terrible stroke of bad luck broke his neck, which part of this photographic print seems unnatural? He didn't. Why is he facing this way?
Yes!
No, that's not correct. Okay. I'm saying if he broke his neck, you'd think he'd fall on his back. Why are you giving us a penalty? That's rude.
I think it's plain what Mr. Sholmes means by unnatural, isn't it? The word written in a foreign language underneath his fingertip, surely.
That particularly crass detail was orchestrated by the culprit. No, I mean to identify another point. Imagine, if you will, losing your footing yourself. Would you land as the victim has one of your hands? You look like the sort of fellow who stumbles with some regularity. This should be an easy task.
Why do I? If Cosma tripped and fell and by some terrible stroke of luck broke his neck, which part of this photographic print seems unnatural? Why is his hand curled? Yes! Now right, if he really fell due to an unfortunate accident, then his fist just doesn't seem quite right.
The exact same thought occurred to me. In a fall, one's instinct is to open the palms flat. Yet here we see the victim with his left hand tightly balled into a fist. Almost, you might say, as though he were gripping something.
What do you mean?
Simply, I took the liberty of investigating the victim's fist a short while ago.
Oh. You did?
And what, pray, do you imagine I found there, my dear fellow?
Does he have a note?
Mr. Sholmes, show us, please.
Why, of course, my dear madam. Why did I keep you in suspense?
Oh. Well, this is interesting.
This is what I found.
Oh, a crescent moon with a little gemstone in the middle.
That's why we had to investigate her ear. Yes, you're right, it's a crescent moon. It's very pretty, but what does it tell us? It tells us nothing! I'm not so sure. That crescent moon looks familiar somehow. I'm sure I've seen it somewhere before.
Observation, Mr. Naruhodo. That is the key.
What?
The truth is now tantalizingly close.
How did that crescent moon come to be in Cosma's clenched fist?
This is the final clue. The last piece of the puzzle. Ask yourself, what does this little crescent moon mean? What significance has it? Observe. Find the answer with your own eyes.
You can see this earring's broken, right? Yes! Miss Pavlova, on your ear there. I see you have a crescent moon as well. Oh. What? And on your other ear, there seems to be a crescent moon missing. The little link holding it on must have broken, I suppose.
Now, the missing crescent moon was found in the victim's clenched fist. Clearly, there is only one logical conclusion. Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Naruhodo?
Yes. Miss Pavlova, Mr. Sogi must have grasped at that crescent moon and pulled it from your ear. Perhaps just moments before he fell to the floor. In other words, last night in Mr. Sogi's cabin, you witnessed the moment when the victim fell with your own eyes. In fact, you were quite literally at an arm's length from him. But then the question is, why did Mr. Sogi do that? Why did he pull your earring from your ear and hold it in his clenched fist during his final moments? Oh no. Angel? No one can protect you now. Please, Miss Pavlova, Tell us the truth. Last night, what did you do to Kazuma? Ah! Is this her or is this Naruto? I think it's probably Pavlova.
When I think about everything that happened yesterday, it was too much. Running away, the fishing boat in the middle of the night, trying to climb onto this huge ship, and then when I was at last in this cabin and I could relax after this horrible long day. Darka, wait! I couldn't believe it when she disappeared through the ventilator. I tried to call her with a little whistle. I tried waving her favorite toy. But nothing worked. Darka would not come back.
What are you doing here at this time of night, Inspector? Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was a friend of mine.
The young man from your country. He was very polite and kind. He helped me to find Darka, and he promised not to tell anyone. But then, when I had my friend in my arms again, and I was going to leave the man's cabin... Just a moment.
Just a moment. Sorry, but...
Oh, yes?
I'm sure I know your face. I've seen you somewhere before.
Ah.
Oh, you... She killed him. This wasn't an accident. Ah, of course. You're Nikolina Pavlova, aren't you? The Russian ballerina.
Huh? No! I don't know that name. My heart nearly stopped when he said that. He knew who I was. How could this man from a land in the faraway east know a Russian ballerina?
Yes, I saw your performance in Japan. The beauty of the ballet made a deep impression on me. But, what are you doing on this ship? I'm sure I read that your ballet company was performing in Shanghai at the moment.
I can't fool him. I have to tell him the truth and hope he doesn't tell anyone. I have no other choice.
Oh, wait, maybe... I see. So you've run away.
Please keep my secret. Don't tell anyone.
Give me a moment. I could use another opinion here. Oh, and then...
He's going to pull the cord. He's going to tell the captain. Why did I think I could trust him?
But it's just Rinosuke in the closet.
Then it happened. Everything at once. It was only a second, but it felt like forever. Wait! I shouted, and then... Darka jumped out of my arms and down to the young man's feet. And as he turned around to look at me, I pushed him. I don't even know why. I don't know why I did it. I was just so scared. And I had to stop him from telling anyone about me.
But the captain helped sneak you on board with all the crew, like, unless all the crew did it without the captain knowing. So what difference would it have made if he pulled the cord and you pushed him onto the corner of the bed? that's when you went to fetch help? From Seaman Stronganov, who was on duty out in the passageway. I heard Nina cry out and thud on floor, so I ran to her. She was standing at cabin doors, shaking like leaf. She looked at me and said, "Help me, Biff. If they find out, I will be... Please, I have nowhere to go." So you decided to help. And that's when you arranged things in Cosmo's cabin to make it look like I did it. So that no one would suspect the passenger in the cabin next door? Yes. I went into cabin and looked around to make sure there was nothing to show Nina was there. And then I found Stowaway in wardrobe, still sleeping. Right, that's when he found me.
So you worked out a plan to lay the blame on the stowaway.
I closed wardrobe drawers and put back strange paper sign. Luckily for me, that's the only reason Susanto-san started to believe me when I said I was innocent. I dragged Wurman's body to a good place and used ink that was spilling to write on floor. I wrote wardrobe, so that person who found them would look inside the wardrobe and find stowaway.
And tell me, what of the glass bell?
It was by my feet, so I picked it up.
I see.
But it was dark in the cabin. I didn't notice the other half. Then Angel went back to her cabin and I finished job. By pressing the emergency alarm button in the passageway? Yes.
Accordingly, the SS Burya did indeed come to an emergency halt at a little after 2 a.m. Thus enticing the bolt on the cabin door to slide shut, creating the locked room mystery.
There's still one thing I don't understand, Miss Pavlova. What? Well, you said that you told Cosmo about the fact you'd run away from your homeland. And it's because you were worried he was going to tell the captain that you pushed him. Isn't that right? Yes. But even if he had pulled the bell cord and called for the captain of the ship, aren't you friends with every member of the crew? Why would that have been a problem? It was what he said first. That made me scared. What he said first? What are you doing here at this time of night, Inspector? Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was a friend of mine. Oh, you thought they were hunting you. He said an inspector was his friend. Ah, yes, meaning me, who was supposed to be acting as his bodyguard. I thought that if police knew about me, they would arrest me. So before he could pull the bell cord, May I
stop you a moment, please, Miss Pavlova? It just doesn't seem to make sense. I mean, was Mr. Sogi really going to pull the bell cord? I don't know.
What?
What do you think, Mr. Naruhodo?
Well, I'm not Cosmo, so I can't know for certain, but he was a man of his word. If he told you he wouldn't give your secret away, then he wouldn't have done.
No, he was walking over to it. He was gonna pull the cord. He was going to make them send me back.
No, he was gonna get me out of the closet.
Well, Mr. Naruhodo, the day's work is not done yet, it seems. There's one more deduction to make.
What? Another deduction?
Yes. What action was the victim really about to take at that moment?
Bro, this music.
Can we determine whether the young man's gaze was directed?
He just wanted to talk to Ryunosuke. Man, this is way too sad.
First, consider the victim's location within his cabin.
That's easy. I remember every detail of that room. I mean, yes, I spent quite a lot of time in the wardrobe, but still. That cabin has been my home for this entire voyage.
So this is how the cabin looked last night, when Miss Pavlova visited Kazuma-sama?
Yes, it's exactly how it was.
Are you ready then, Mr. Naruhodo?
Yes! There's one thing I've learned today. It's that a simple gaze can reveal all manner of truths. And not only that, in order to draw the right conclusion, you can't afford to be out by even a little bit when you're following the gaze to where it lands. So when he turned away from Miss Pavlova, what exactly was Kazuma looking at?
Take that!
Considering everything that had happened last night, certainly it may have looked as though Kazuma was going to ring the bell cord.
Yes, however, what is directly beside the bell cord? The wardrobe.
The wardrobe?
And more importantly, what was inside the wardrobe? Man's great friend, sleeping soundly.
Ah!
Miss Pavlova, please think back very carefully. What were Mr. Asogi's exact words last night?
Give me moments. I could use another opinion here. Then he would be like, look, I too have smuggled an illegal item onto the ship.
Another opinion?
Yes, but not from a member of the crew. No, Mr. Asogi intended to consult his close friend on the matter. To see if, between them, they might be able to help in some way, no doubt.
Oh no. Sadly, we can't know the truth for certain now. It's too late for that. But I wish you'd made sure of what Mr. Asogi was looking at. Things may have ended very differently if you had.
Ms. Pavlova. I want to thank you for finally admitting the truth. But, unfortunately, the truth is, a man lost his life because of what you did, and that will never change. I hope you'll never forget that.
I'm sorry. Really? I'm so sorry. What have I done?
And so, at long last, the mystery surrounding the tragic accident on the SS Buria was finally laid to rest. Alright, so about 12 hours later, I'm back in the passageway. What will happen to Miss Pavlova now, then? Once we reach Great Britain, she'll be handed over to the British police at Scotland Yard. What about the fact that she ran away from Russia? Won't the Russians try to repatriate her? Apparently, the English detective can speak to the immigration office and sort that all out. Mr. Sholmes can do that? So she won't be going back to Russia then? No, I don't think so. Even if she wanted to return in the future, I doubt she would be able to. She ran away, so now she's in exile for life. I see. I'm sorry. Seaman Stronganov. I wanted to help our angel, no matter what. But I didn't think about you, about how you lost good friend. I will go with Nina and will give myself to British police. That's kind of you. In the meantime, thank you for letting me go free again. Cosmo's death feels like such a waste. But, well, do what you can for Miss Pavlova, won't you? That. Well, I'm afraid you need to pack now. We're due to arrive in Hong Kong tomorrow. As much as it pains me, I'm going to have to hand you over to the consul to arrange your passage back to Japan. Bruh. Well, I guess Cosmo's not going. What's the point? Yes. I did stow away, after all. I couldn't really expect any different. So, you should get back to your cabin now. It looks like my study tour to Great Britain is over before it's even begun, then. To think that only days ago Cosmo and I were laughing together how we tear up the streets of London. That seems like a distant memory now. Oh, what's that? Is it someone weeping? Susanto-san?
Naruto-san, I didn't know you had returned.
Oh, well, I haven't been back long. Inspector Hosonaga just told me I should pack, you know, ready to leave the ship tomorrow and all that.
I still can't believe this has happened. I can't believe someone's life can be over just like that.
Susanto-san.
He had such grand ideas for this visit to Great Britain, so many dreams. And now they've been cruelly taken away, just as he has. I thought I could never forgive the person responsible. But now we know the truth. That it was just an accident. Just a silly series of mishaps. It's too much, Naruto-san. It's just too much.
Yes, I know.
I wish there was something I could say.
Oh, Susanto. I wish there was something I could say.
Inspector?
My duty was to see Asogi-san safely to Great Britain. But I failed, and caused his two closest friends great pain and suffering as a result. I've let everyone down. And I will do anything to make up for my terrible blunder. Nobody blames you, Inspector. And I'm free again now, at least. Huh?
Surprise! Mr. Naruto!
What? What is the meaning of this?
Oh, a trifling matter. Simply that in my head, I think I shall always picture you wearing those shackles. Without them, the balance seems all wrong. It's distracting.
Sorry?
So I decided to restore them. For old time's sake, shall we say? You are a stowaway after all.
He thinks this is funny. He thinks this is funny.
Mr. Sholmes. We do appreciate all your assistance. I'd like to thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Not at all, not at all. And though it's a little late, may I offer my sincere condolences? The loss of your companion is truly heartrending. I hope that you will be able to fulfill some of his aspirations in his honor.
I'm afraid that won't be possible. We shall be disembarking at the next port, in Hong Kong. I have to return to Japan and make a full report about everything that's happened. What? Wait a minute. It's just me that has to go back, isn't it? I mean, I was the stowaway. The terms of the study tour were negotiated by the Department of Justice in both Great Britain and Japan. It was to be 1 lawyer and 1 assistant. Was to be? In the light of Mr. Sogi's unfortunate death, I'm afraid the study tour can no longer go ahead. Oh no. I don't care for me, but... Poor Susanto-san.
My dear fellows, the majority of problems have an extremely simple solution, you know. All you require is 1 lawyer, and the study tour can continue, surely.
But there is no one else with the necessary qualifications, Mr. Sholmes. We know of no other lawyer.
Qualifications, you say? Any qualifications obtained in your own country will be of little value in Great Britain, I'm afraid.
Oh, but...
But anyway, the voyage to London still promises a good month of time. Ample opportunity, I would say, to find yourselves another suitable lawyer.
Yes.
Miss Susanto,
Yes?
do you think perhaps I might be able to do it?
Ah!
But you're not a lawyer, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, unless... Are you studying law? No, I'm not, but... I'm sorry. In that case, I don't think there's even a chance it could work.
But as I said, there is still more than a month before we reach England's shores. Isn't that right, Mr. Naruhodo?
Yes, I have a month in which to study, to learn what I must to become a lawyer in Great Britain.
Mr. Naruhodo?
That's ridiculous. Are you seriously suggesting anybody could learn all of that in just 40 days? There's only one way to find out. I would work my fingers to the bone, Inspector. Every single day. Will you let me try? And if, by the time we reach Great Britain, I haven't learnt enough to be recognized as a lawyer, I'll take whatever punishment is deemed appropriate. But why put yourself in such a difficult position? For Kazuma, he said that there was something he had to do in Great Britain, and that he would sacrifice anything to make it happen. He was passionate about it. I can't let all that passion just come to nothing. And anyway, it's for my own benefit, too. I will become a lawyer. I have to. What do you say, Miss Susanto?
I think it's a wonderful idea.
Thank you.
So, what does our
I hate Kermit, boys.
So, what does our bespectacled inspector friend say?
I think I just hate the way he talks. Are you serious?
1 lawyer, 1 assistant. The numbers are indisputable,
No, it's madness.
yet fascinating, wouldn't you agree?
Fascinating.
Duty and rules are the dull routine of existence that we all abhor. Give us interest, give us fascination.
Speak for yourself.
Besides, qualifications are no measure of a man. What matters is his character, no? And you've witnessed ample evidence of this man's exemplary character today with your own eyes. From the early hours of this morning until this very moment now. Despite contending with the passing of his close companion, and despite the accusation of guilt, this man has shown resourcefulness, intelligence, and above all, courage.
Very well. I'll think of a clever way to word my report to the Department of Justice. Inspector! After all, I did just make a promise, didn't I? I said that I'd do anything and all to make up for my shortcomings here.
Oh, thank you, Inspector.
If you'll excuse me, I must pay a visit to the captain's quarters, I think. I need to discuss what to do next and how best to make my report.
Are you really prepared to attempt this, Mr. Naruhodo?
Yes, I'm going to try. I wonder, would you consider teaching me what I need to know? Everything about being a lawyer?
I would be delighted to help you. I am a judicial assistant after all.
Thank you.
And, Mr. Naruhodo, I'd like you to take charge of this.
What? Me? Are you sure?
I'm sure it's what Kazuma-sama would have wanted. Its name is Karuma. It's a great sword that's been in the Asugi clan for generations.
Very well. I accept. I'll treasure it, always. So then, Miss Susanto. It seems we'll be working together for some time to come yet.
It will be an honor, Mr. Naruhodo. And for the next 40 days, I shan't grant you a single minute of freedom. We shall fill every spare moment with study.
Yes, that's exactly what I need.
But, before we begin, I have an earnest favor to ask of you, too.
Goodness, what is it?
Please throw me to the ground. 3 times.
Reverse Susanto Takedown.
I should have never have doubted you. You were Kazuma-sama's closest friend. Of course you would never have done anything to hurt him. That should have been obvious to me from the start. But I allowed suspicion to get the better of me. And no matter how upset I was feeling, it was completely unforgivable behavior.
No, you were in shock. You just found out about me stowing away, and the cabin door was locked from the inside.
No! I won't let you make excuses for me! Whatever the circumstances, I should have never thrown you! And not just once, but 5 times!
Yeah, that number keeps creeping up, doesn't it?
Please, you must! Just take hold of me and throw me! Do it! Don't even think about it! Yeet me! Yeet me, Ryunosuke!
No, I don't even know how. I've never thrown anyone in my life.
Very wise, Mr. Naruhodo. Isn't a skill one acquires without considerable training.
Oh, Mr. Sholmes.
I observed your throwing technique several times with great interest. I confess I was most impressed.
When did he see that? He's everywhere.
I presume that would be a form of Japanese wrestling?
Oh, well, in a way, it's not wrestling, but my own interpretation of an ancient jujutsu technique.
Apparently it's called the Susanto Takedown. Leaves your head swimming. Believe me.
How beguiling. I am a practitioner of the combative arts myself. I am somewhat accomplished boxer. Fight me, Susanto. Fight me. Susanto, I want to throw hands with you. Please. I'll throw hands. You can throw my body across the room.
There he goes, dancing around again.
I wonder if you'd be so kind as to instruct me on the technique of your arresting throw.
Yes, I'd be honored. I'm gonna fight you, Herlock Sholmes.
Then let us not dally. Demonstrate, my dear madam.
Oh, of course. Are you ready, Mr. Naruhodo?
What? Sorry, what? Excuse me? Hi-ya! No! Susanto, why?
As you can see, you throw from the abdomen.
Oh yes, arresting indeed. Is that what you term the Susanto Takedown, is it?
Actually, no. That was a Susanto squash.
goodness. In my groggy state of consciousness, a scene from an evening recently spent with Kazuma flickered into my mind. Karuma? That's right. It's a prized sword that's been passed down through generations of the Asogi clan. I can't believe you managed to get permission to bring it with you. I mean, taking a katana on a study tour is more than a little irregular, surely. A Japanese man's sword is his soul, Ryunosuke. I can't be parted from my katana. Karuma guides me. I truly believe that. So its name compels its wielder to slice evil in two? Not that you would need so much compelling. On that subject, there's something very important that I have to do in Great Britain, and I'll sacrifice anything to make it happen. I'd appreciate you seeing it through with me. Of course I will. Whatever it is, I'll see it through to the end with you. I knew you wouldn't let me down. That important thing he had to do. I still don't know what that was. But I'm going to see the place for myself and work it out. In Great Britain's capital, London. Oh, man. Well, there was a lot of emotions. Hey, achievement unlocked, Crash Course candidate. There was a lot of emotions unlocked there in this episode. So we have finished off episode 2 in the game. But man, that was... Definitely was thrown off by the bit thrown by Inspector Hosonaga saying that they were worried about people possibly assassinating Kazuma, but... Man. I don't have words right now, I don't think. Definitely when it was first like, oh, it was an accident, he tripped over the cat. I'm like, this episode sucks. Contender for worst. Move over, Big Top. Worst little chapter here. And I was like, and then, no. It's so sad. You know, it's just misunderstood. Because I see where she's coming from. I don't think it was a good enough excuse, but like, she's what, 15-year-old ballerina, worked to the bone, and would do anything to not essentially get thrown back into her performance slavery. And it's true. Even Ryunosuke asked, like, don't you know the captain? What are you afraid of? And it's just she heard the word inspector and freaked out and thought she was going to get turned over to the police. And it's just such a sad turn of events. To go out like that, falling on a bedpost on your neck. So I don't think she meant to kill him. She just wanted to push him out of the way of pulling on the cord, and then the way he landed, and all from there. All horrible. Horrible, horrible. But man, definitely a lot of twists and turns. I didn't see that coming. Even until it got to the end, I was like, but who left the marks on the floor? What's going on? It doesn't seem to make sense. Definitely a lot of twists and turns here in this episode. So I'm happy that I didn't see through it. Very pleased with the way, not necessarily with the way it turned out, obviously, because of course I'd prefer if Kazuma was alive, but definitely felt very fulfilled here by this first true case of the game. But yeah, I definitely need to take a break. So I did film 2 episodes today, if you guys snooping on the save file dates. Did film 2 episodes today, so on Wednesday I've taken care of Thursday and Friday's episode, so I definitely think I need a little break for me. Should be back on Saturday though. Of course, I'll post on Friday in the community tab. So after you guys see this episode, make sure to check the community tab maybe throughout the day. If you don't see anything at all, definitely then there should be an episode on Saturday. So on Thursday, I think I'll take the day off. So I'll just be due back to filming the day before the episode. I wanted to get a little bit further having stuff done in advance, but Kermit voice has killed me today. Even this morning, I was like, nice, I can film another episode. I didn't expect it to be another 2.5-hour episode. So I did get a little spoiled this morning by that 1-hour investigation part 2. But, man, oh, that was so sad. Kazuma just wanted, on his mind, he was thinking about Ryunosuke. He wanted to talk to his friend. Just to be like, she's worried, like, oh, I ran away, I snuck my cat on board, and he's like, well, I snuck my best friend. He's in the closet, let's look at him, let's talk to him. Just to make her, in my mind, to make her feel better, be like, look, so am I, people aren't so different, and it's just, what happened just didn't pan out the way Kazuma was hoping it would, so definitely very sad there. But even though there was a lot of sadness going on here, I hope you all still enjoyed this episode here of the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles playthrough. If you did, don't forget to go ahead and smack that like button. Comments for me, leave those down below. What did you think if you're playing along, if you're playing, or just watching and not playing, and what did you think was going to happen? Let me know in the comments down below. And of course, if you're not yet part of the Allie's Treasure Trove family, I'd love to have you join us. Make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Now, also, before I get on out of here, do have to give a big shout out to all of our patrons over on Patreon. Thank you so much, you all, for your above and beyond supports. I really, truly do appreciate each and every one of you. To have 4 Ultimate Excavators, Jack Perez, Keith Mira, Mako, and Stephen Olivo, 3 Gemstone Miners, Andon, Mark Mardini, and Stephen Bly, and 1 Crystal Collector of John Michek. But thank you so much, like I said, to all of my patrons. Appreciate the support from each and every one of you. Whether you're on a tier in which I say your name at the end of every video or not, really, truly do appreciate your support. So thank you so much for that above and beyond support. But yes, that does it for me here today. I really hope you all enjoyed these videos. I hope that they're not too long. Don't know any other way really to break it up without having massive cliffhangers for me, massive cliffhangers for you. Of course, it's already difficult as it is when we finish off the different parts of the episodes to be like, oh man, have to wait until tomorrow for you guys. And for me, most of the time too, it's been I have to wait until tomorrow to figure stuff out. But next up, in episode number 7, we'll be starting on a clean slate, going into episode number 3, The Adventure of the Runaway Room. Now that sounds very interesting. How does a room run away? We'll just have to find out next time. But that's it here for this episode here on The Trove. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. I hope you'll join me next time as we solve some more mysteries here, solve some more cases. I'm curious when we're first going to get to a trial. I'm assuming Great Britain, that's where we'll meet Von Zeeks. And how that's going to go. I'm assuming it'll be different from the trial back home. I'm sure Ryunosuke is going to have to put his mental power and Susanto's advice to the test in these upcoming investigations and gameplays. And I also want to see more of Herlock too. I've actually been really liking him. He's growing on me a lot. Especially here at the end. It sounded weird. I almost wanted to switch back to just generic British accent for him. Sounds weird to have him saying such motivational stuff in Kermit voice, but we're keeping the Kermit voice. Even though it pains my throat, we're keeping Kermit voice. But yes, that does it here for this one. Again, thank you so much you all for watching. Take care, everybody. Hope to catch you in the next one. Bye!